Hi, Trailblazer. My name is Anna Zabo, and I am a Salesforce certified business analyst. In this video, I am going to share with you my 17 tips for how you can successfully pass the Salesforce Business Analyst certification on the first attempt. Let's get started. I prepared for you index cards. They will help us walk through step by step, and at the end you will have a very comprehensive idea on how you should think about the challenges presented to you during the exam. My first tip is don't be fooled by pretty words. What do I mean by that? When you read a question about the role of the business analyst on a project, it will present to you some options that sound really nice. As a team player, we all want to be accommodating and collaborative. But that is where you should not be tripping, because the role of the BA is to be very wise on a project, because the BA has to have boundaries. The BA has to accommodate what the stakeholders need and really get clarity about what it is that they think they want. But at the same time, the role of the BA is to protect the development team, to protect the scope of work from being hijacked, to ensure that everything runs exactly as agreed upon from the beginning until the end, so that at the end, the project can be properly tested, quality of the deliverables can be assured, and then there can be a release of the project happening on time and on budget. So be very aware of this, what I just explained to you. As they present to you the options for choosing your answer, they will portray the wrong answer by covering up with nice words such as accommodating and collaborative. Don't be fooled by pretty words. Okay, number 2, understand the role of the BA on the project. If you think about who the business analyst is, the role of the business analyst is to communicate very clearly with the stakeholders, appropriate parties, those who should be included in the project, those who will be affected by the project, and those people need to be contacted by the BA, examined, talked to, and those requirements that the BA gathers, the BA is going to deliver to the team using the artifacts based on the methodology used for that specific project approach, how work is actually managed. There can be waterfall approach to project management, there can be agile, among agile there can be scrum and kanban and lean. So the role of the BA is to really take those business requirements, put them into the artifacts, the deliverables that will be presented to the development team, so that the development team can develop what it is that was asked. If it's improperly gathered, if it's improperly presented, then the development team at the end will not be delivered. And there will be questions on the exam that you'll be presented with a scenario that the development team has failed to deliver. And the quality assurance analyst has failed to assure the quality of the project. So the entire project was a failure, and you will be asked on the exam as to why. What was the issue? And you'll be presented with a series of answers to choose from. So think about what I just explained to you, the role of the BA on the project. And this, if you understand this will help you then answer those exams questions when you're presented with a question, why did this project fail? Here's what happened. Okay, number 3, know how the business analysis must be conducted. You have to understand very clearly, step-by-step process of business analysis, and you also need to understand who should be involved, when, and why. And you should understand when the business analyst must be involved in this process, because there will be questions on the exam that about this topic. There will be questions on the exam that business analyst was brought into the project not from the beginning, and you will be presented with some possible scenarios as to how things unfolded on the project and what the business analyst needs to do. Because the proper way, of course, to engage the business analyst is to bring them from the beginning of the project so that they can do their job properly. And that is something I described in the beginning of this video. So know the role of business analyst so that you can then brainstorm when presented on the exam with questions as to what should business analysts do entering the project in the middle of it. Okay, number 4. Have clarity regarding who personas are. Personas in business analysis are Salesforce users. Those people for whom you and your team of developers, quality assurance, analysts, and whoever else is involved, you are delivering features for those people. Why it's important for you to understand who personas are is because there will be scenarios on the exam that will take you for a mental ride. They will take you around and around and around and around, and at the end all this question was about is who the personas are. Now, if the scenario presented to you talks about whom this business does business with, please make sure you understand who personas are. You, as a business analyst, are not developing features for those with whom this business is doing business with, unless there are customers or patients who will be logging into Salesforce to do something there. Differentiate that your persona is a person who does something in a Salesforce org you are developing. Okay, so have clarity about it. Don't let anybody confuse you, because some of the scenarios on the exam will be so confusing, so frustrating. But if you truly follow these 17 tips I'm giving you, you will pass with high scores like I did. I passed with very high scores. They're actually featured on my LinkedIn profile. You can go see them. And the reason why my scores were so high is because I gained all this understanding, which is why I'm sharing it with you today. Number 5, practice writing user stories a lot. Practice writing user stories a lot. Why? Writing user stories is the most confusing task, and I've seen it again and again as I've been on my journey of interviewing, working with teams, working on a couple of projects recently. Writing user stories always starts with who the user is. As an account manager, as VP of sales, as a physician at a hospital, that's as a who, that is your user, okay? As a who, I want what? So this user, the who we're talking about, want something to do their job. So this person wants something to do their job. The way you write user stories is completely agnostic to any software, to any solution. It should be written in such a way that this person expresses what they need to be able to do their job. So as a who, I need what? What is it that they need? You write it into your user story. And finally, so that I can why? As a who, I want what so that I can why. That why is the reason they want this specific thing in their CRM. So for example, I'm going to give you an example. As a who, I want what so that I can why. As an account executive, I want a clearly defined sales path so that I can effectively and efficiently move my opportunities through the pipeline. That's a user story. Here in this user story I just gave you, we clearly identified who the user is. User story will never start with saying, as a user. As a user is too broad. Who is the user? Is it a physician in a hospital? Is the user a patient who will be logging in questions into your Salesforce? Is a user a CEO who wants to see big numbers and just reports, nothing else? Or is a user a case worker who will be entering all the data? Who is a user? You gotta specify. So when you are looking at this on the exam, and there will be many questions about user stories, again and again and again they will pop. You need to remember, as a who, I want what so that I can why. And it will never start with the word user, as a user. It will start with something specific to specify who the user is. As a business development rep, as an account executive, as a physician, as the VP of sales, that's how user stories properly start, okay? Also, please make sure that the user story you're not choosing out of scenarios there that takes you again for mental ride. What I want is din din din. That's not how user story starts. User stories are short, sweet, independent from any software and from any other features and from any other people. So as a who, I want what so that I can why. Remember this, and this will help you on your exam. There will be countless number of questions about user stories. There will be long multiple scenarios, and you will have to figure it out. But if you just follow what I just taught you, you'll have no problem figuring out what the correct answer is on the exam. Okay, number 6, master acceptance criteria. Let's put on your thinking hat right now. Acceptance criteria for user stories is something that will help your development team and the quality assurance analyst know that this user story is complete. In our example with account executive that I just gave you, the acceptance criteria is going to sound this way. Account executive has access to clearly defined sales path. It's independent. It can be answered with either a yes or a no. It's very short. It's testable. And remember this, what I just taught you. When you go back to the scenarios where you'll be asked why project failed, why did the development team, you'll be asked on the exam, not deliver the project, and you will be presented with a series of possible answers. Remember what I just taught you, that the acceptance criteria has to be independent, testable, very short and sweet, just about one thing, and it should be answered with a yes or no. That's what acceptance criteria is. If you understand user stories and you understand acceptance criteria, you will be able to answer so many questions correctly on this exam. Number 7, differentiate waterfall from agile. This is huge. I'm going to give you a very interesting perspective that will help you on the exam. Super easy. When you think about life overall, some people think that life is about figuring out when you're about 8 months old what you're going to do with the rest of your life, making plans, having your parents outline your every step, and this is how you live your life. I'm sorry to break it to you. It does not work this way. And in real life projects, most of the time, projects also don't work this way in 2022 because everything moves so fast. Everything is so fast paced. Technology is changing all the time. If you are using waterfall approach to project, waterfall approach means step by step by step by step. A huge one-time delivery at the end, a long time from the beginning, okay? And the third thing to differentiate waterfall approach is that the outcome is known from the beginning. So when it comes to waterfall approach, you think about how most people think about living life. You know the outcome from the beginning, you take step by step perfectly, and there is one big, huge delivery at the end. It does not work, okay? That's why on this exam there will be a waterfall approach presented against agile. Agile is about when you start a project and you really don't know the outcome, but you are courageously, with calculated risks, take small steps, and it can go like this, okay? Agile. It does not go perfectly this way as waterfall. With agile, you don't know the outcome from the beginning, like you do in waterfall. And with agile, you have regular deliveries at regular intervals. So you deliver a portion of the project, you ask for feedback, and you implement it, you adjust. That's why you can go like this with agile versus a perfect way of thinking about projects using waterfall methodology. You understand? These three things, that's all you need to remember. Do you know from the beginning the outcome? If not, it's agile. If you do, that's waterfall approach. Is it a perfect path outlined in your head with one huge delivery at the end? Then it's waterfall. If it's not a perfect path, if there are small deliverables, asking for feedback and implementing right away, that's agile. So make sure you know this by heart. And hopefully what I just explained to you will already help you. Okay, number 8. Know by heart Scrum versus Kanban. Scrum and Kanban are both agile methodologies, but they have different approaches to how work is taken into actual production, okay? With Scrum, the project is locked for the period of sprint. So if stakeholders come and they want new features, they're not gonna be allowed to hijack the sprint. The product owner is not gonna let it happen. But with Kanban, even in the midst of working, anybody can come and say, oh, I just thought up about these features. Can we do this? If this work is urgent, it can enter into production on the same day. That's Kanban, but not Scrum. So understand the differences between Kanban and Scrum and know them by heart. That is how you will be able to pass this exam very successfully, because you'll be asked repeatedly about Kanban versus Scrum. Not very straightforwardly. You'll have to think. With just differentiators I explained to you in this video, you are already equipped to understand the differences between Scrum and Kanban. I'm gonna give you some examples of how questions are asked. The question will say, a stakeholder so-and-so comes to you, the BA, and tells you that this thing is urgent and this is how the team works. What should you do? Based on how they describe the team works, you're gonna see for yourself, is the team using Kanban agile methodology or is this team using Scrum agile methodology? You're gonna see it from the scenario. And based on which methodology the team is using, you will choose the right answer. Because if the team is using Kanban, yes, you can go to the team and you can tell them, hey, here's something urgent. Can we work on it now? But if the team is using Scrum agile approach, you cannot do it and you have to wait until the end of the current sprint. And then this feature the stakeholder wants you to present can be evaluated. You understand? So just know this by heart. That's why I say by heart. Okay, number 9, think about developers and quality assurance analysts testing at the end. There will be scenarios where several answers appear to be correct. But if you think that what it is that you're evaluating now, will have to be assessed by developers how to produce it, and then assessed by quality assurance analysts for how has it been done. They have to know, right? then there will be only one correct answer. And this is how I have such high scores on this Salesforce Business Analyst exam, because this is my way of thinking. I'm sharing with you, and I spent a lot of time preparing. I also did some other apprenticeship programs that help equip me for this, and I failed during those programs. I failed at this, and that gave me real life experience as to what not to do. That's what I'm telling you today, how to think properly about what business analyst does and what business analysis is, so that when you go to take your exam, your scores will be even higher than mine. And if that truly happens to you, I want you to come back to this video and comment below, Anna, I am certified, and I will go to your LinkedIn and check out your scores because I'm rooting for you, okay? All right, number 10, memorize the criteria for user stories. This will be asked on the exam straightforwardly. What is the criteria for user stories? So you need to know that user stories need to be everything I explained to you in this video. But the most important thing you need to remember is user stories are independent. They are not attached to any software. They have nothing to do with Salesforce. User stories are about what users want to do. That's what the criteria for writing user stories is, okay? They're not solutions. They're not solutions. Please remember this one thing, because there will be so many questions. Remember, user stories have nothing to do with solutions. Don't include solutions there. Number 11, master requirements elicitation. Requirements elicitation is the first step in your business analysis process, and you need to know exactly who are the parties who always must be included in requirements elicitation and why. Because there will be questions that are very complex. According to the scenario, you will look at the answers and you'll be like, man, I mean, wow, this sounds like all of these answers are correct. But they will not be if you know exactly who should be included in requirements elicitation and why. Okay, number 12, understand who the stakeholders are and why. The stakeholders are not your buyer personas of your client. The stakeholders are parties involved, and I'll give you a keyword, RASI. So remember, when you think about stakeholders, you need to think about RASI: responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. Responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed, RASI. Think about that and think about who the stakeholders are, because stakeholders have to do with RASI. All right, hopefully this helps you. Number 13, we're moving super fast. I really hope this will equip you for success as you prepare to take your Salesforce Business Analyst exam. Number 13 is know whom to include during elicitation. And I just gave you the keyword. When you think about whom to include, think about RASI. There will be several scenarios that will give you various ideas for who should be included. And I promise you, I was staring at those scenarios and I was like, man, honestly, it just looks like every answer is correct, but only one answer would be correct. So think it through. Number 14, remember the purpose of Scrum. So remember that Scrum, first of all, is a type of agile methodology. Agile is about delivering software fast, delivering quality software fast, and ensuring the quality of the software delivered is great. Now, to accomplish these things, just what agile is for, you understand that things cannot be constantly changed and broken into, right? So we have to have, at some point, project locked for us to be able to work using Scrum methodology. Scrum is about locking your project for the duration of the sprint so that nobody can hijack the requirements elicited before the sprint. If you know this one thing, if you remember it by heart, you're gonna be able to answer so many questions correctly. Remember, the purpose of Scrum is to not allow people to hijack the project. And you're gonna be asked very tricky questions about it. That's why I actually want you to come back to this video right before your exam and just listen to it one more time, because these tips I'm giving you are very valuable. This is not an easy exam, not a very easy exam, and the passing score is 72%. That's pretty high. So these tips are from experience and from me failing, not the exam, but failing the actual business analysis project, because I was trying to hijack business requirements elicitation. How was I doing it? With solutioning. That's very common. That's what most people do. Do not think that solutions belong in a stage of elicitation or user story writing. Solutions don't belong there. Forget about your solutions until you have your requirements elicited, users defined, and user stories written, and acceptance criteria very clearly established, okay? All right, number 15, differentiate very clearly between various agile approaches. So I told you various agile approaches are Scrum, and then there is Kanban, and then there is Lean. To the best of my knowledge, there were no questions about Lean in the BA exam. There were questions about Agile versus Scrum versus Waterfall. So focus on this. Number 16, comprehend the actual question. Oh, this is so tricky. I would read the scenario and it's a long one, many lines, and I would be thinking, what are they asking? Then I get to the actual question at the end, short question, and it's just about something super simple. Don't be fooled like I was, okay? So read what it says, and then immediately read the question and see if the scenario relates to question at all. Because several questions, the scenario was just a distraction. Literally, the little question at the end had nothing to do with the scenario. So comprehend the actual question before you invest too much time into thinking about the scenario, okay? And finally, number 17, the most important tip I can ever give you, that is manage your mind. Yes, you can do it. Listen, let me be very real with you. I was able to obtain 2 certifications in 30 days. In my first 60 days of learning Salesforce, I became a Salesforce certified admin on June 23rd. I started learning Salesforce on May 23rd. On June 23rd, I became Salesforce certified admin. And on July 23rd, I passed my Salesforce Business Analyst certification exam. Please don't think that it's been easy or that I'm confident. I'm not. In fact, even as you're watching this video, please know that it took me 5 times to get started on this video, because I also feel anxiety. I also feel insecure. You feel insecure, and I know it because you guys write me letters on Trailhead, you write me letters on LinkedIn, you guys write me letters and comments on my LinkedIn content, and I know that you feel anxiety and you want to schedule your exams 1 year from now, but I encourage you to schedule your exam 2 weeks from now. I encourage you to give yourself a chance. I encourage you to understand that your imposter syndrome, your overwhelm, your disorientation in the Salesforce ecosystem, I understand 100%. And all I can say to you is, me too. The difference though is when I feel all of this, I still take action. So this video is clearly not perfect. Look at my hair. It's super humid. I look like crap. And I'm still doing this video because I want to help you. But it's not because I really feel super confident. It's because I really want to do this. I want to take action despite my fear, using courage. And when on the day of my exam I felt suffocated by anxiety, I introduced myself to the same idea that I will take all my feelings with me into this exam. I'm not gonna wait until I don't feel this way. I'm not gonna wait until someday I feel confident and ready and fully prepared. That day will never come. Things change so rapidly. So, my final tip is the most important. Trailblazer, believe in yourself. Understand that the feelings you feel are just because you're human. They will not go away. You will never feel super confident or ready. So just do it. Give yourself a chance.